Psalm 70. For the director of music of David, a petition. Hasten, O God, to save me. Come quickly, Lord, to help me. May those who want to take my life be put to shame and confusion. May all who desire my ruin be turned back in disgrace. May those who say to me, aha, aha, turn back because of their shame. But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who long for your saving help always say, the Lord is great. But as for me, I am poor and needy. Come quickly to me, O God. You are my help and my deliverer. Lord, do not delay. As the title says, this psalm is a petition from David. And again, we see him crying out to God in his helpless state. He prays that his enemies will be punished and that those who love God will rejoice in him. And that's about it. What really stands out about this psalm is its brevity and its urgency. It's only 5 verses. Psalm 69, the preceding psalm, deals with a very similar subject, but takes up 36 verses. And I'm sure you can point out many other psalms that do the same thing. I think it makes me think that there are times when you're able to wax lyrical in praise or petition to God. But there are times when all we can manage is to stutter out a few honest thoughts between tears. And that's what we see in this psalm. And it's no less beautiful or honest or profound than the longer forms of petition. It is simple, but it's honest and it's humble. The New Bible Commentary says this about Psalm 70. It is good to have such a written prayer available for times of pressure when our thoughts cannot focus and our extremity confuses our powers of expression. Where our thoughts cannot focus and our extremity confuses our powers of expression. It's great to have a psalm like this that gives us a simple framework for prayer. Are you in a time like this? Many of us are. Many around the world are. But God is so generous and so loving that he gives you this psalm to tell us that it's okay to just barely pray sometimes. Because it's not the power of the prayer that can affect change. It's the power of the one who hears the prayer. In Romans chapter 8, Paul speaks of suffering and what it's like to pray during such times. And in verses 26 and 27, he says this: in the same way, the Spirit helps in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And he who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. As a Christian, because of Jesus' death and resurrection in your place, you can be confident that God's Spirit dwells within you and that your prayers are heard and understood by God. And I think the most necessary aspect of prayer is humility. See how David prays in verse 5. But as for me, I am poor and needy. Come quickly to me, O God. You are my help and my deliverer. Lord, do not delay. It's in our weakness and suffering that we most need to pray. And mercifully, it's in our weakness and suffering that we are most able to pray with humility and clarity to our great God as we await his saving help. So right now, instead of discussion questions, I want you to take a moment to use this psalm to cry out to God with simplicity and urgency. God bless.